Hey everyone, it's Mark, and here I am making my July 2021 video. As I've said in the past, doing these videos every 6 months is a heck of a lot easier than making a bunch of phone calls. Not much on the phone, but I find this much more inspiring. I hope you do too. I got some props today. I decided to really make this more commercial. As you can see, the AVMA flag is flying in the background. Thank you, Joe Canarney. I got my Hokie shirt on. That's where the real statue of Shiloh resides. Here's the real Shiloh, though. That's just the statue. And the Georgia hat. Let's not forget the Georgia hat. I recently was in Georgia visiting some AVMA friends, and I was told next time you make that goofy video, wear the Georgia hat. All right, Larry, here it is. So as I said, I was in Georgia and in Covington, and it was on Mindy's family stuff, and I visited some good old AVMA friends, the Toppers, Kimberly and Mike, on their beautiful home on Lake Oconee. I also reunited with the Bullards, Gary and Brenda, and the Careys, Corinne and Larry, good friends, old friends. And every time I see Larry, and he's doing great, hi Larry, I think of that story where we were in Idaho with AVMA at a VLE and it was a Sunday, and I was driving to our meeting somewhere. I forget where this meeting was, and oh my God, Larry screams out, KFC, it's Sunday, we got to get the big bucket. Oh my God, we walked into this place and came out with 2 gigantic buckets of chicken. Only Larry would know this. So Oconee, water people. I looked it up, water people. Must have been the native tribe, the water people. Well, I hope they got a cut of the Ritz-Carlton they built there on the water. As you can see, here I am in the Poconos, 3-hour drive from Jersey. The dogs, Shiloh and Mrs. Cosette, sound asleep. We're up here on Pawpacken Lake, Lake Pawpacken, not far. Of course, you all know Wallenpaupack. That's not far from here. I'm celebrating because I had this old dock that I just got rid of. A guy across the lake in his 80s said he'd take it, and he did. The only problem was the dock was on dry land. And I told him, you're going to have to get this dock in the water. It weighs about 500 pounds. Well, he came over. He's a molecular biologist from Jersey. He's got a house on the lake. He came over with lifts like jacks and bottle jacks, blocks of wood, a 12-foot board. And he got that thing in the water after 2 weeks of work. And then the best part was, he said, he was going to sail it across the lake. He was going to put a sail on it. God bless this guy. Actually, the other day I was up here. I come up here on the weekends, and our septic system, it's a special system, runs with a motor that churns things around because of the lake. You got to be careful because of the lake. It's called a jet system. The motor blew up. Now, in the old days, that motor, you'd have to call the septic guy, and it runs about $800. I went online, and it's $400. They sent it right to the house. So I'm in great shape in the septic department. I'm telling you, if the Russians, if they really want to cripple the U.S. economy with their ransomware, go after these online pumps, man. That would just be deadly. No more septic pumps. All right, I have a segment called What's Up? What's up with those dental floss things? Have you seen them? They're disposable. It's like a green handle, and I find them everywhere on the ground, like in front of the Wawa, my office, you name it. Are people really flossing their teeth that much? I'm missing the boat. There must be another reason these things are everywhere. And what's up with all the houses, mostly in the country you drive by, and the front porch of the house is loaded with all kinds of crap that hasn't moved in 15 years. It's been rained on, snowed on. The stuff's ruined. I mean, you're just going to leave it there? I mean, what's up with that? DirecTV, they notified me that they're phasing out the receiver I have had for about 30 years, and they need to replace it with an HD receiver. Well, the problem is they can't, because you got to hit 3 satellites for this new receiver, and I'm lucky if I hit the one I've had all these years. All right, July 4th, the Declaration of Independence. Do you know that, yeah, Thomas Jefferson gets all the credit? That was written by a committee. Adams, Franklin, a guy named Sherman, a guy named Livingston. All right, all you AVMA folks, committee work. Now, famous quotes. I write these down for my own benefit, but I thought I'd share a few with you if I can get them right. Who is rich? One who finds happiness in his lot. The Lord visits the iniquities of the father on his children and their children. You better think about that one. Destroying one soul destroys an entire world. Our fate is bound up in the fate of others. How true is that? Now, here's an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's got a lot there. And it's one thing to write a note. It's another to note it. That's my wife, Mendy. Every man is guilty of the good he did not do. You all know that's Voltaire, of course. A meeting of the mindless. There's another one from my Mendy. A meeting of the mindless. She says that when all the beagles are in one spot. A meeting of the mindless. And I think I missed one here. The future ain't what it used to be. Well, of course, that's Yogi Berra. Did any of you ever had a client or two that they're done with their appointment and instead of walking to pay their bill, they're so absent-minded they just walk out the door? It happens to us all the time. I don't know why, but my one receptionist, Brenda, she has a good comeback for that. As they're leaving absent-mindedly, she simply says in the most polite voice, "There's a charge, hun." I like the hun part. That really adds a lot to it. There's a charge, hun. And of course, we all know this from the New Testament. To whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. All right. How about those musical groups that are changing their names? You know, the Dixie Chicks. Now they're called the Chicks. Lady Antebellum is now known as Lady. I thought I'd come up with a few of my own, like Fleetwood Mac. We'll just call them Mac. And ZZ Top. I like Top. Maroon 5. Well, 5 sounds good. Led Zeppelin. We'll just Led. You know, have you been to the Led concert? And of course, Bee Gees I had to think about. I'll go with G's. We'll just call them the G's. My hearing. I always talk about my hearing because it's probably my biggest health complaint. At work the other day I was complaining that I can't hear Mindy hardly anymore, and I think it's the pitch. I think it's, what do you call that, the timbre or something of her voice. And at work they said, no, there's a name for that. It's called marriage. Okay, that's pretty funny. Well, anyhow, the other day, a perfect example, Mindy yelled from way upstairs that she just heard a story about COVID, and the story was about sex and methadone. And here I am trying to put COVID, sex, and methadone together. I made her repeat it 5 times, but basically what she was saying was the COVID story was about dexamethasone. All right, now you get what I'm getting at, the dexamethasone, sex and methadone. Here's a thought. It's not a good one. Are you ever aghast at what comes out of someone's mouth? I mean, oh my God, how could they say that? Well, here's something. Just think about what they don't say in public. What are they holding back in that brain that they're not going to even say it? That's the scary part. New Hampshire, the house in New Hampshire. Snakes. I got snakes in the basement. Yeah, these garter snakes. What are they? They tend to be about 4 foot or something. I'm afraid of snakes. I'm sorry. I got a snake phobia. I've already removed 3 or 4 from the house up there. And now I'm seeing things in the back of my, over here where I don't even have peripheral vision. I'm starting to see these snakes. It's really freaking me out. And then my motor. I don't know if you remember my last video, but the boat went underwater, our little rowboat with a motor. And this was my precious Evinrude motor, 50s vintage, 6 horsepower. I looked up, I was thinking maybe I'll really step it up and get an electric motor. And I looked pretty good for a while. $400 for an electric motor. I mean, that's incredible. And then as I researched it, it turns out it runs on a battery. The battery's $1,500. All right, so that did that in, and plus it weighs about 70 pounds. Okay, I think they need to do a little work on the electric motor price. Talking about Evinrude motors, the Evinrude I had was so similar to what Katharine Hepburn had in the movie on Golden Pond, where she's zipping around the lake with this 5 or 6 horsepower blue Evinrude. I had that motor before it went under. Now here's the story of Evinrude motors, and I'm going to tell this for the benefit of Glenn Anderson, a friend from way back. Cornell, so God, if I was 77, he was in the 60s somewhere. So Glenn is of Norwegian heritage, God bless him. Evinrude, a guy named Ola Evinrude came over from Norway to somewhere near Milwaukee and started this company, oh God, in 1907-ish. He married Bessie, of course, so we got Bessie and Ola. I love saying Ola. And his first motor was 1 horsepower. Needless to say, the company made billions over the years until it actually went bankrupt in around the year 2000. They even bought the Johnson Motor Company, which was a huge company. After bankruptcy, another company bought them, Bombardier Recreation, and eventually the Evinrude was recently phased out. All of their outboard motors. So, but what a history. Ola. Long haulers and COVID. It turns out Glenn is a long hauler, and you know, they're talking about maybe a vaccine would get these people a little bit better. We've been doing that forever in veterinary medicine. I can't begin to tell you. Kennel cough cases, hit them with the vaccine. Upper respiratory cats, hit them with that oral vaccine, a couple drops in the eyes. I mean, we've been doing this for years. Now, I was looking at the Purina prescription price list that came the other day. How many Purina prescription diets do you think we have? I'll answer it for you. 46 dog, 34 cat. Separate diets. 46 dog, 36 cat. Kind of hard to believe. These guys exist on ZD Dry and Can, and I exist on pizza, Costco hot dogs, and Chinese takeout. All right, I'm getting near the end here. July 1st, every New York Mets fan should know what July 1st is. It's called Bobby Bonilla Day, and you gotta know who Bobby Bonilla was. I know I'm probably hitting this on deaf ears. Bobby Bonilla was a player from the 90s. The Mets got a hold of him and he tanked. So they decided we're just going to buy out the guy's contract. So instead of paying him the $6 million to get rid of his contract, they came up with, oh God, a typical Mets thing. They came up with an idea that they wouldn't pay him any money for 10 years and then they would give him $1 million a year till the year actually $1.2 million a year till 2035. So obviously they're still paying them. So their idea was they could use this money right away to build up the team and win some World Series and fill the seats. So Bobby Bonilla collects a check every July 1st for $1.2 million. Oh, here's the best part of it. Typical Mets history. They were going to pay this 1.2 every year with a great investment that they had put some money into, and this investment was just so lucrative there was no way they would lose out on this crazy deal. Needless to say, the investment was with Bernie Madoff. All right, Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1st, every year. Ugh. So let me close on my somber end of the video story. Get the Kleenex out. About a month ago, I had to put this old 15-year-old Chihuahua to sleep, owned by a great client. And Chi-Chi, this is the story of Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi had intestinal cancer, things were dragging on, it was time. So the owner's there, and I'm actually injecting the solution when the owner proceeds to tell me that just before he came over for the appointment, he took Chi-Chi to his recently deceased wife's grave. She had passed away like November, I think. So he took Chi-Chi there right before this appointment to kind of tell her that Chi-Chi would soon be on the way. And that was it. I lost it. I mean, how many times have I done this procedure? Too many to even begin to count. And this was it. This was as bad as I can ever remember it. But it reminded me, of course, of a poem, a prayer that is said on Friday nights at synagogue, and I'll try to repeat this. You can look it up on the internet. I'll get going here. There are stars up above so far away. We only see their light long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people, and I'll add pets, we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember.